Hello everyone, I'm Anas Al-Ubaidi. Welcome to this lecture or this session, and the title or the topic for this lecture or this session is How Historical Events Shaped Modern Research Ethics. And this lecture is within the chapter that is about the foundations of clinical research. And this lecture, of course, is part of the Advanced Clinical Research Assistant Certification course program within CCRPS. Introduction. Research ethics, a vital pillar of modern scientific inquiry, ensures the protection of participants' rights, safety, and dignity while maintaining the integrity of research practices. This field arose from historical incidents where unethical conduct revealed the critical necessity for ethical oversight. Each breach in research ethics contributed a lesson and laid the foundation for current guidelines and protections in medical and scientific research. The development of ethical standards has been driven by notorious events such as the Tuskegee Tuskegee civil study and the inhuman experiments conducted during the Holocaust. These events not only shocked the global consciousness, uh, but or consciousness, but also propelled the creation of robust ethical frameworks like the Nuremberg Code, the Belmont Report, and the Declaration of Helsinki. These documents introduced principles such as informed consent, beneficence, justice, and respect for persons, ensuring the participants' welfare takes precedence over research ambition. Key points. We'll start with the key point of key historical events and lessons learned. The foundation of modern research ethics is rooted in historical events where unethical practices highlighted glaring moral and procedural failures. These moments became turning points, prompting the creation of formal ethical guidelines. The Tuskegee Civil Study 1932-1972 description. This study investigated the progression of untreated syphilis in African American men. Participants were misled, denied treatment, and left unaware of their diagnosis, even after penicillin became the standard treatment. Ethical violations here, lack of informed consent, and deliberate withholding of effective treatment resulted in unnecessary harm and suffering. Lesson learned. This scandal underscored the importance of transparency, informed consent, and prioritizing participants' well-being over research goals. It led to the creation of federal guidelines and oversight by institutional review boards or IRBs. Example, an IRB today would have evaluated the risks and ensured participants were informed about their condition and treatment options. The Nuremberg Trials and Nuremberg Code, 1947, description post-World War II trials revealed horrifying unethical medical experiments on concentration camp prisoners. These experiments included sterilization, drug trials, and endurance tests conducted without consent. The outcome here of the Nuremberg Code, established in 1947, emphasized the necessity of voluntary consent and the moral obligation to minimize harm. Lesson learned. Research must prioritize the dignity and autonomy of participants. Experiments should have a clear scientific purpose and should only proceed with informed voluntary agreement. Example, modern requirements for detailed consent forms and participant briefings stem directly from the principles of the Nuremberg Code. The Belmont Report 1979. Description. Reacting to the Tuskegee syphilis study that ended in 1972, this report identified the three guideline ethical principles for research with human subjects. RBJ. Respect, R for respect for persons, acknowledges participants' autonomy and provides special protection for vulnerable populations. B for beneficence, researchers must maximize benefits and minimize harm. J for justice, ensures equitable selection and fair distribution of research benefits and burdens. And mostly the Belmont report is used in clinical trials inside USA, United States of America. The impact on modern research ethics. These principles form the ethical foundation for IRB evaluations and informed consent practices. Example, a clinical trial recruiting elderly dementia patients must include safeguards to ensure participants fully understand the risks, respect for persons, and distribute participation equitably is justice. And here is a diagram on historical events, like a summary. Tuskegee Civil Study, Transparency, Informed Consent. The principal highlighted key impact federal guidelines and IRB oversight. Nuremberg trials, voluntary consent, minimizing harm. Nuremberg Code established consent as a research necessity. Belmont Report, respect, benefits, and justice. Ethical principles guiding participant recruitment, safety, and informed consent. And here is a nice simple diagram on unethical research practices harm participants and erode trust. Ethical guidelines and modern practices. From these pivotal historical events emerged critical guidelines that have shaped modern ethical research practices, ensuring participant protection at every stage. IRB's institutional review boards role IRB's review and approve research proposals, ensuring ethical compliance and assessing potential risks versus benefits. Example, a phase 1 clinical trial for a new cancer drug would require IRB approval to confirm participant safety measures are in place. Key impact IRBs act as gatekeeper, preventing unethical studies from moving forward. Informed consent definition ensures participants receive all necessary information about the study's purpose, risks, benefits, and procedures prior to agreeing to participate. Example, a diabetes drug trial must provide participants with a clear understanding of possible side effects and the option to withdraw at any time. Significance here builds trust between researchers and participants while prioritizing autonomy. Equitable selection of subjects definition ensures the research burdens and benefits are distributed fairly among populations. Example, avoiding disproportionate recruitment of low-income individuals for high-risk trials without sufficient justification. Significance here prevents exploitation of vulnerable groups while fostering inclusivity and diversity in research. And here is a diagram or a table on guideline/practice, example and application. Significance, IRBs, informed consent, and equitable selection of subjects. And here is a diagram, simple diagram summarize the ethical research practices. Challenges and innovations in ethical research. Ethics in research is a dynamic field that continues to evolve in response to emerging challenges and global demands. Racial disparities in research challenge here historical mistrust and lack of diversity in research participation contribute to unequal health outcomes. Innovations, outreach programs, and community partnerships aimed at building trust and increasing representation of underrepresented groups in clinical trials. Example, efforts to recruit more minority participants in COVID-19 vaccine trials to ensure wide applicability of results. Global harmonization of ethical standards challenge here variability in ethical expectations across countries complicates international research. Innovations, adoption of globally recognized frameworks like the Declaration of Helsinki to standardize ethical practices. Example, international trials for an anti-malarial drug adhere to the same ethical principles, ensuring participant safety across regions. And here is a table on challenge, innovation/response. Example, challenges, racial disparities, global harmonization. And here is a diagram on addressing ethical challenges in research. Examples of ethical application. To solidify the understanding of these principles, examining practical applications in current research scenarios is essential. Example 1, IRB, Institutional Review Board review scenario, a new trial for an Alzheimer's medication is under review. Key principle applied, respect for persons, benefits, and justice. Outcome, the IRB ensures that consent forms are easily understandable by participants suffering from cognitive decline. Example 2, diversity in research scenario. A study on hypertension recruits participants from various racial backgrounds to address disparities in treatment outcomes. Key principle applied, equitable selection of participants. Outcome results ensure the treatment is effective across diverse populations. And here is a table on scenario principle applied outcome scenarios, Alzheimer's drug trial, hypertension study. Research ethics exist to rectify past mistakes and prevent future injustices. for clinical research assistants. Understanding these principles is not only a professional responsibility but also a moral imperative. By applying ethical frameworks diligently, researchers uphold dignity, fairness, and safety, ensuring trust in science and advancing healthcare responsibility. And here is a diagram on upholding ethics and equity in clinical research practices. Next, we have the summary tables. Table on key historical events in research ethics. Table on ethical principles and practices. Table on evolution of research guidelines. Table on challenges and innovations in ethical research. Table on applications of research ethics of research ethics in clinical trials. Then application table. Scenario for each scenario, key principle applied, key actions, timeline, what to watch out for. Next, we have MCQs or multiple choice questions to revise what we have covered through this lecture. Question 1: what was the main ethical violation in the Tuskegee syphilis study? Definitely is the informed consent, lack of informed consent and withholding of treatment. So B is the answer. The primary ethical violations in the Tuskegee study were the lack of informed consent and withholding penicillin treatment when it was widely available, leading to avoidable harm. Question 2: which of the following principles was introduced by the Nuremberg Code? B. Voluntary consent as an essential condition for research participation, as the Nuremberg Code emerged from the Holocaust atrocities and emphasized the necessity of voluntary consent in research to respect autonomy. Question 3: which document established the principles of respect for persons, beneficence, and justice? RBJ, which is Belmont Report. So C is the answer. The Belmont Report was developed to ensure ethical research practices following the Tuskegee syphilis study. It defined respect for persons, beneficence, which is basically minimizing harm while maximizing benefits, and justice, fair distribution of research risks and benefits. Question 4: how do IRBs, institutional review boards, protect research participants? By C. C is the answer: by reviewing and approving trial proposals to ensure ethical conduct. IRBs act as ethical gatekeepers, ensuring that study designs protect participants' safety, rights, and well-being. Question 5: what is a major challenge in modern research ethics concerning racial disparities? It is B. Addressing historical mistrust and lack of diverse representation in studies, as racial disparities in research stem from past unethical practices and contribute to a lack of representation in modern trials. Efforts to address this focus on trust building and expanding diversity in participant recruitment. And here we come to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.